1 year ago today, I for some bizarre reason decided to start uploading one Skyrim video a day until the release of The Elder Scrolls 6. It started off as a bit of a joke, really, a side project to work on when I was bored. I thought it'd be funny to see how far the series gets by the time the next Elder Scrolls game comes out. That one day a video might pop up in someone's feed titled, "Uploading one Skyrim video a day until The Elder Scrolls 6, episode 1682. It surprises me how a silly side project like this can serve as a point of reflection for me, to think about the things that have happened in my life over the past year. I'm not about to start reminiscing about how my life has changed, don't worry. It's just interesting how a project like this can grow on you. The save file for Todd Howard the Orc is currently just shy of 40 hours, which is a pretty big chunk of time to spend on something, not taking into account the time taken to edit the videos after they've been recorded. I'd like to thank everyone who has so far subscribed to the channel, watched any of my videos, or left a like or comment. I'm not the sort of person striving to become the next big thing on YouTube. I'd certainly be going about it the wrong way if I was. But the fact that strangers on the internet have spent their time engaging with something that I've created is nice. In particular, I'd like to thank a few friends who have been following the series. You know who you are. And the guy who leaves a comment on every video stating how many days he's been watching the series for. As of today, you'll be up to 57. And those are 57 counts of about 2 to 3 minutes that you are never getting back. Once again, thank you all. I had wanted to prepare something a little more substantial than usual to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the series. I tossed a few ideas about, but ultimately decided on making a prediction video for what we will see in The Elder Scrolls 6. So far we have the short teaser trailer released 4.5 years ago to go on, that and a few other things. So now is the best time to get any predictions in before anything else is officially revealed. Unfortunately, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. I have a document with over 17 pages on the project so far, but I've been too busy to produce a video in time for the series anniversary. I'm actually writing and recording this on the 11th to give you an idea of how pressed for time I am. I'll likely continue the project and release it at a later date, either here or on a different channel that isn't spammed daily by Skyrim videos, but for today I'm going to do a short version covering 10 of my more bold predictions. Brace yourselves. 1. The game will take place in Hammerfell, within 5 years of the events of Skyrim. The setting will be an Aldmeri invasion of Hammerfell, following the events of Skyrim, which has left Hammerfell's neighbours crippled and unable to intervene. Skyrim is in ruins from its civil war, which ended in a Stormcloak defeat after the death of Ulfric Stormcloak. Cyrodiil is embroiled in a succession crisis after the assassination of Emperor Titus Meek II, and High Rock is quarantined, suffering from Periite's plague which was spread there from Skyrim. The Dragonborn's involvement in the major events of Skyrim will be kept ambiguous. The only canon is that they defeated Alduin and Mirok, vanishing thereafter. The game will start with the country split in two, areas occupied by the Dominion and areas that are not. The player can fight the Dominion and push them out of a region, but until the main quest is complete, they will continue to spread and recapture settlements. Where the Dominion is pushed out, the conflict turns to the petty squabbles of Crowns versus Forebears, two rival Redguard factions. The game's main logo will be a snake. 2. The game's main quest will reveal the player as an avatar of Hunding, the Redguard's make-way god, and have them rediscover the lost art of sword singing and repel the Aldmeri Dominion invasion. The player will start as a prisoner in Belkarth Guard. They will break out of jail alongside a prisoner who will eventually be revealed as a Blade's agent. During the main quest, the player will become a sword singer. Sword singing will act as the replacement for Skyrim's shout system, allowing the player to summon a spirit sword known as a Shehai, with various magical effects. The main quest will end on the Isle of Balfiera in High Rock, with the destruction of the Adamantine Tower. This area will only be visited once in a playthrough. 3. There will be a massive skills overhaul. The game will feature 3 skill levels pertaining to the main archetypes of the warrior, the mage, and the thief. The player's overall level is derived from these levels. Rather than balancing an equal number of skills across the archetypes and struggling to give them all the same level of depth, this new approach is adopted for its simplicity and flexibility. The skills will be represented by a tapestry. As the player levels up, the tapestry will be filled in based on how they progress. A low-level character will have a mostly plain tapestry consisting mainly of outlines. A high-level character's tapestry will be richly detailed and brightly coloured. In order to gain experience and level up, the player, as in previous installments, has to rest. While resting, the player chooses different parts of the tapestry that will allow them to gain experience and perks in the skill that part of the tapestry represents. For example, choosing to fill in an archer will give the player archery perks. As a result of this system, this game will feature the most skills since Morrowind. And yes, spears will be one of them. 4. There will be a follower overhaul, and you will be able to form your own faction. A major feature of the game will be the ability to have multiple followers at a time. There will be improved tools to control followers in order to better coordinate fights and ambushes. During the main quest, the Blades agent will encourage you to start your own faction to resist the Eldmeri Dominion. To disguise Imperial involvement, this faction will officially be yours to lead, and you will have to choose somewhere to settle, either camping in the wilderness or taking over an abandoned fort. You will need to manage your faction to make sure certain basic needs are met, namely quarters, provisions, training, and distractions. The Blades agent is willing to manage the faction for you if you have no interest in doing so. 5. The game will feature radiant NPCs. The game will feature pseudo-randomly generated NPCs that you can find in taverns, shops, temples, as well as in the open world and dungeons, similar to Talskar the Wanderer in Skyrim. Radiant NPCs can be recruited into various factions across the game. Radiant NPCs that are not recruited will eventually leave the region, or otherwise die and be replaced by a new Radiant NPC after some time. The player will also be able to create their own custom NPCs that can appear as Radiant NPCs in their game. It will be possible to download other people's NPCs too. 6. The game will feature a prestige system. As you progress with a character and unlock skills and items, you will gain prestige. Prestige allows you to start a new game with some skills and items that have already been unlocked, so you won't have to start a new game from zero every time. This will also allow you to create more powerful custom NPCs for your games. In order to encourage the creation of new characters, the game will feature more significant choices and consequences, meaning you will have to make multiple characters to experience the game fully. For example, Daedric quests will give you the option to go along with the Daedra to obtain their powerful artifacts, or go against the Daedra in an attempt to not be consistently chaotic neutral, as was the case in the majority of Skyrim's Daedric quests. 7. Melee combat will be massively overhauled. In an attempt to add more depth and create a more deliberate combat system, the tap, press, hold system that was used to control shouts in Skyrim will be adapted to give the player more options in melee combat. Tapping the attack button will perform a feint, tricking enemies into making themselves more vulnerable to a follow-up attack. Pressing the attack button will perform a standard attack. Holding the attack button will perform a special attack, which changes depending on the direction being held and the type of weapon being used. Special attacks include power attacks, charges, disarms, parries, and sweeps. Every weapon will be throwable for massive damage. Holding the sheath button will ready a weapon for throwing. Blocking will be automatic. Tapping the block button with a shield equipped will attempt to parry. Pressing the block button with a shield equipped will perform a shield bash. Holding the block button with a shield equipped will act as an enhanced block. When not using a shield with a weapon, the block button allows the player to parry, kick, and block. Dual wielding will still suck. Hand-to-hand combat will give the player the option to grab and grapple. The game will also feature locational damage, allowing the player to consistently deal critical damage if they successfully strike an enemy's weak spots, such as their head. Finally, the game will feature different physical damage types. Stabbing and slashing weapons will be less effective against heavy armor than a blunt weapon, for example. 8. The game will have 3 major DLCs and a flood of Creation Club content. The first DLC will be pirate-themed, set in the Abyssinian Sea and its various islands, and feature zombies and dragons. The second DLC will allow the player to discover the Dwemer city of Volenfell and claim it for themselves. The third DLC will take place in a small region of High Rock near the Bankurai Pass and feature Periite and his plague. The Creation Club will feature literal hundreds of micro DLC because Bethesda likes money and people will give it to them. 9. The game will feature multiplayer. While not necessarily available at launch, and perhaps never officially releasing due to bugs and compatibility issues, there will be tools in the game files to accommodate multiplayer. If not officially released, modders will be able to easily implement it as a result. Players will be able to join others by taking control of one of the Radiant NPCs, or by having their own wander in across the border. 10. The game will release on the 20th of June 2026. Skyrim released on the 11th of the 11th of the 11th, and in keeping with numerology, the most likely release date will be the 20th of the 6th, 2026, as 20 plus 6 is 26, and it will be the 6th installment in the franchise, leading to an easily memorable release date. Well, those are a few of my predictions. When making predictions like this, it's very easy for it to turn into blurting out a personal wish list, which only sets you up for disappointment when hardly any of it comes true. This is a genuine attempt to predict some of the things we'll see in the series' next installment based on what we've seen so far, criticisms of previous titles, and what Bethesda can do to sell the next game. It's unlikely that they'll just reskin Skyrim and try to sell it without any new features. Actually, now that I consider the amount of re-releases of Skyrim we've had over the past 11 years, maybe that's exactly what they'll do. Let's hope not. Again, 1. The game will be set in Hammerfell. 2. You will play a sword-singing avatar of Hunding. 3. The skill system will be overhauled. 4. Followers will be overhauled and you'll be able to make your own faction. 5. There will be Radiant NPCs. 6. There will be a prestige system. 7. Melee combat will be overhauled. 8. The game will have 3 major DLCs and far too much micro DLC. 9. The game will eventually feature multiplayer or have the tools to make it easy to mod in. 10. The game will release on the 20th of June 2026. Thank you all for watching. Here's to another year of Skyrim.